This video resurfaced recently showing a Springfield police officer grabbing a child by the throat in a high school of commerce hallway. Now, this incident took place last year, but I have been monitoring its developments ever since. After initial footage was released, the officer in question claimed the student had pushed him, which led to the altercation. As a result, at the time of the report, the student was actually charged with threat to commit a crime, assault, and battery on a police officer and resisting arrest. The mayor even responded to the incident by vilifying the student, stating a small number of our youths have a tendency to show disrespect and or malice towards authority figures. So his initial reaction to the shocking video was to berate kids these days. But recently released footage clearly contradicts initial reports about the student pushing him, and charges have since been dropped. The officer has now stated it was a mistake and that he genuinely thought he was pushed. Does this mean the kid didn't say something combative to maybe set the cop off? Of course not. But kids say all sorts of stuff. They're kids. So does making a snide comment merit a child being physically assaulted by a law enforcement officer? Well, actually, according to many of the people who commented on the rare articles I found on the issue, it does. I wonder why. Anyway, that's not the point. There are two reasons why I wanted to bring this to light. One, like any halfway decent person, I found the footage alarming and thought it should go without saying that children should not be treated in such a manner, no matter what they've said, especially in schools. Free speech, right? And two, instances like this are why I think we need to focus our attention on increasing the number of school counselors in American schools. According to a study carried out by the 74, a non-profit education news site, school security officers outnumber counselors in 4 out of the 10 largest public school districts in the country. Not to mention that none of the top 10 districts where counselors may be particularly beneficial, especially for low-income students, meets the American School Counselor Association's recommendation of 1 counselor for every 250 students. Most weren't even close. Now, does this mean school security isn't important? I'm sure the conservatives who are already flooding the comments have claimed that's what I'm saying, but of course not. With people in this country hell-bent on avoiding any reasonable discussion on gun control and the issue of mass shootings, of course security is needed. But taking resources away from counseling and other social services to satisfy the need for security at the expense of these kids is not the solution. What I'm saying is we need to prioritize kids' emotional and mental health, especially in low-income areas with more at-risk youth. Countless studies have confirmed the essential role school counselors play in helping develop kids, especially those attending public schools. A study by economists Scott Carell and Mark Hoekstra took a stab at figuring out what impact counselors have and showed that hiring just 1 school counselor could have about 1/3 of the effect of recruiting all the school's teachers from a pool of candidates in the top 15% of the profession. The researchers further stated that at the schools surveyed, each additional counselor reduced reports of disruptive behavior by 20% for boys and 29% for girls. And this is just one example. But the reality is this: it's easy to look at a school plagued with discipline issues and assume more security and more policing is the answer. I mean, how many times do you hear people lambast, say, the Chicago school district as a war zone or filled with troubled kids, but rarely propose any real measures to address these issues? Or maybe the solution is as easy as moving schools, right? Maybe moving to schools that are more lucrative and less policed, right? Maybe like Stuyvesant High School in New York, where just today it was announced that 7 black students were accepted into this school. One of the most prestigious public schools in the nation out of 895 offers. Yeah, so maybe moving schools isn't so easy, is it? When you take into account the whole racial prejudice thing that still remains rife in such departments. The public school system needs more attention than it's getting. Policing young students doesn't mean the environment for these kids becomes a safer place to learn. Whereas, if you prioritize counseling and look at ways to help offer these children the option to be heard rather than policed, maybe you'll see less of the above and more results. Just my thoughts. Love to debate with you on this over my Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell, and you can support independent media here. Did you like this video? Then great. Never miss another breakdown video by hitting the subscribe button below and ring the bell to get notified whenever we publish a new video.